Alright, so I'm doing a challenge trying to platinum every single game inside of the Ubisoft Plus game catalog on PlayStation. And if I can't do it before we hit 690,000 subscribers on YouTube, then I have to tattoo the platinum logo somewhere on my body. So make sure to drop a like and subscribe. 600,000 subscribers. Thank you all so much. This is absolutely insane. We are getting ever so closer to 1 million. But before we continue, I did want to clarify that the challenge with the tattoo punishment that I am doing is for 690,000 and has been this entire time. A lot of people thought it was 600, and I'm sorry to disappoint, but it's also sort of your misunderstanding and not mine. Anyways, I love you all, but today is no different day than any other, and I platinumed the Crew Motorfest. There's a grand total of 51 trophies in the game, and it's the fastest platinum out of any other Crew game so far. The first stage to completing the Crew Motorfest Platinum Trophy is to finish 6 playlists and get the Cars, Bikes, Rides, and Good Vibes Trophy, which is basically the only quote-unquote story trophy in the entire game. It opens up with a little intro into the Crew Motorfest talking about cars and crap, as you would expect. The game takes place solely on Hawaii, by the way, which is kind of bad timing considering some somewhat recent events. Anyways, eventually you get to make a character, and I chose to make my guy look like a male Karen so we can both make the other racers annoyed and also confused at the same time. Like, just what exactly is even that? After the character customization, we then got to do a lot of races real fast while the game introduces us to playlists that involve all of these same cars we were driving. But once that all ended, we then got to pick our actual car to drive and get the first trophy of the game. And I'm actually not sure what the point of this is because the game loans you cars for like every single playlist. In fact, this might be the most pointless car choosing screen I have ever seen in my life. But if you're wondering, I did choose the BMW because I'm a man of class, and also if you drive a Mustang, you're gay. Anyways, the next trophy I got was once I loaded into Hawaii for the first time and was let off the hook to go play the game however I want to. That being by driving all the way over to the first playlist available called Made in Japan, which is, as you could guess, a car racing playlist completely surrounding Japan because they have cool cars. Duh. Anyways, during the very first race here, there sadly wasn't much Japan really going on except for these racist decorations everywhere, which is okay because why not? But I ended up driving over 40 kilometers in the race right here and got a trophy for driving 40 kilometers inside of Hawaii. I then literally just kept on playing the Made in Japan playlist until finishing it in its entirety. By the way, these playlists are all essentially the same thing reskinned with different cars each time, so, you know, typical Ubisoft game, I guess. But the next trophy I got was, as I said, after completing the Japan playlist, and it was initially for just fast traveling back to the playlist start point. I did this so I could collect my reward for completing it, which, by the way, every time you complete a playlist, you get a car as a little cherry on top. So once I collected the car that was awarded from Japan's playlist, I got a trophy for collecting 30 cars in the game total. Now you're wondering how the hell I did that with just 2 cars, right? Right? Say yes, okay, just say yes, it's for the best. Oh my god! It's because cars from the Crew 2 transfer over if you want, and I did that, so that trophy is a lot easier than it should have been. But I also got a trophy right after for completing my first playlist. So that's a little bit more normal, as they say. I then started my next playlist, and it was called the Scenic playlist, which, as you might have been able to guess, had us racing around in scenic places. And I must admit, these races were beautiful. But in all seriousness, I got like basically 0 trophies during this playlist until finishing 15 Motorfest events right here, which is not hard at all. And my next trophy I got was actually the one from completing 6 playlists in the game. And I kind of feel bad for just skimming over all of these races, but like, dude, they are seriously the same thing with a different car each time. And I remember very clearly complaining while playing it because of just how boring it all was. So yeah, there's the trophy from completing the playlist. And although that was super boring and took me like 5 or 6 hours at least to do, we only have a handful of trophies. So the next stage is where it really began to kick up a notch. Feats, photo ops, and challenges. Yes, we get to grind now. So actually, never mind, it didn't really get kicked up a notch. If anything, we stayed stagnant in the same place. I'm gonna go cry real quick, I'll be back. Anyways, I'm back. The first thing I went after was the 31 different feats. Feats are a little objective, like speed traps, speed zones, these weird obstacle courses with a name that I'm not sure is real. And yeah, that's it, I think. There's maybe one more, but a certain feat I did had a trophy attributed right to it, and it was from flying through a donut with a plane. So that's sweet. Get it? Son of a bitch, the schizo's acting up again. God damn it. So the feats in this game are really not that challenging if we are being honest, especially if you transferred over cars from the Crew 2, since you will basically have overpowered cars and can vroom vroom very fast, which is why this one only took me an hour more to do all 31 and get the trophy pop right here. I was then navigating some menus to find the challenges I need to for the next trophy I am after, and I stumbled into the main menu screen here with a ton of rewards on it. Turns out I did enough to become a legend and I got a trophy. I mean, I already knew I was one, but the validation is nice. Thank you, game. I then went after the 30 challenges trophy, which is gotten from completing 30 challenges. Not sure why I had to explain it, but some of you are retarded. Anyways, challenges are a lot more complex than feats because they require very specific acts with very specific cars, and almost no room for wiggling, if you will. You find challenges in the menus of the playlists you have done, and they are all sort of themed around the playlist they come from in addition. This makes it a bit easier to get the hang of things and also understand what the hell is going on. So overall, it's not a horrible experience, and it's actually kind of fun aside from the boredom of having to do 30 of them. Nearing the end of the challenges though, I had to do one with a truck, and it obviously wasn't naturally fast enough to reach a speed of 230 kilometers an hour, or if you're American like myself and have no clue what the kilometer is, 142 miles per hour. Anyways, back to the trophy. I just fully upgraded the truck I needed and got my first vehicle to max level in the game. I then had to do one last challenge in the game, and it was done by landing a car on top of a building's roof. Magic, I know. So the last part to this stage 2 grind is now to just go do some photo ops. Everyone's favorite activity that nobody actually enjoys, but we still put up with it. Photo ops were in the last game and also sucked there. They aren't quite as bad in this one because as far as I know, there is less. Essentially, all a photo op has you do is follow a prompt and then do it and take a picture. First trophy I got during this fun was actually just for doing 3 photo ops in the same session of the game to begin with. I was then doing a harder one and had to rewind a lot, which led me to accidentally rewinding completely, and apparently that's a trophy for being a massive failure. I then had this one photo op which took me on an absolute adventure and brought me all the way up to the top of this volcano. And since I brought a car with me, I got a trophy because that's hard to do with a car since it can't fly to get up there. I then took my last photo of the photo op challenges with a big shrimp, so there's that trophy.
What did he say?
Now it's time for stage 3, which is just miscellaneous trophies, and if I'm being honest, I sort of just meshed together the last stages of the platinum because they're all miscellaneous in my opinion. But first I did some big online races because I wanted to, and the trophies in them were also the next in my PlayStation list. That's the real reason actually. And once you start the grand event or grand race, which is like a 32 player or something like that race, you get a trophy. During this same race, I also passed or overtook 12 players if we're being real technical with it, for another trophy. After that, I then decided to get another racing trophy called Take the Wheel. This one is a tad bit more of a grind and requires you to complete 5 events, which can all be done by the way from just replaying the same thing 5 times. So like how I crawl back to all of my ex-girlfriends, I crawled back to this event for 30 minutes straight and was left with a sour taste in my mouth. Also, I got a trophy from it this time, so that's cool. I then stupidly just spent an hour straight playing the grand race again because I thought I needed XP for levels. I was wrong, and it was a total waste of time. But the next trophy I did get was called Madcap, and it was done from comboing 15 actions in one freestyle. Now this sounds super hard, but it's actually very easy since the combos in this game sort of stick around longer than you like. It kind of feels like when a relative comes over for the holidays and that one person just won't leave. But I did get the 15 combos right here after switching over to the plane since there is lots of actions with it that are all easy. I then began to actually get loads of trophies from all of these miscellaneous things, which is just so much fun. Now we all know everyone loves trophies, but what about bridges? Name me one person who doesn't love them. Okay, I forgot about that. However, there is a trophy for flying under 5 bridges, and I got that right here from flying under 5 bridges. I then did another crew classic trophy and had to find a treasure box in the game. These are scattered around and show up once your screen flashes yellow. Also, this was in the crew too, so it's again another completely not new thing. How nice. I then just had to park my car on a beach and watch some sexy still shots of it until a trophy popped for me just chilling. And I also got to fly all the way up into outer space and tickle Elon Musk's scrotum. However, he wasn't too happy and both gave me a trophy but also shut off my plane and now I'm falling to my death. I then got to go do donuts on the Ubisoft logo in this game because they are just putting themselves in the grave with that new Assassin's Creed one. But I, for one, can't wait to cosplay as George Floyd. That's the last American tradition we have. I then got to do a quite annoying and confusing trophy. It's a simple, fully decorate trophy on a car, but for the life of me, I just did not have everything and couldn't get it to pop despite going onto a few cars and fully customizing them. So I, as usual, looked it up and found out that the Jeep is, for whatever reason, the best car for this, and the trophy pops when you decorate it, just like I did to the others. This is BS. My next trophy then took us back to the good old Summit contest, and I had to complete my first Summit event. Summit events, by the way, are nothing special, just totally average. remind you of anyone? But no, seriously, it's just a race like any other, except I got a trophy after it. I then went to the actual car meet in the game, which is a staple as a place where you can run around with your schlong out with other people. But while here, I submitted a random car of mine to the car contest and got a trophy. I then walked around and voted for 5 different cars as being good or something. I don't really know what I voted for, but then again, that's just kind of what politics are. Anyways, back to the summit contest. It consists of 9 events, with I think 6 or 7 of them just being races. So obviously there's a trophy from completing them all because the game would be the type to do that. But there was actually some neat races here and I had a somewhat fun time doing this. Also, the fact that it only took 30 minutes to do was an added benefit. So there's the trophy right there. I then decided to do another kind of annoying race trophy called Leagues Above. You have to complete 5 custom events, but like usual, you can just do the same one over and over. So that's exactly what I did. And it was honestly very boring. I kind of almost maybe fell asleep. I was tired, okay, it was early. So I suck at racing, which lots of people know if you watch my videos. But there was a trophy gotten from finishing a drift event without hitting a wall or going over an edge. And I did it first try because I'm the best actually. But also it was on 1 difficulty, so you know. And I finally made it to an actually difficult trophy in the Crew Motorfest. Yes, they exist. There might only be 1, but they still exist. It's gotten from doing a speed trap with a boat. Now you might be wondering, well, that can't be that bad. Just drive on water and do one. Well, my friend, there is none on water, meaning you have to quick swap the car into the boat and time it so you don't lose too much speed. But the hard part is that the game has a very inconsistent vehicle switching feature, meaning sometimes it does it right away, and others you have to sort of sit around and wait, which is awesome. I did manage to do it though, right here after driving the Red Bull F1 car super fast, and also this speed trap was only 170 kilometers per hour, opposed to others that are like 200 plus. I then did a much easier trophy where you just had to wear a tuxedo and be driving an Aston Martin. In fact, this was so easy it popped before I even got in the car. I also drove off the map with a plane again, and I gotta say, they made these map borders unreasonably large. I also got to shell out hundreds of thousands of doubloons to buy the Back to the Future car and drive it to a certain speed, then reverse because we are going back in time. Ooh, ah.
I am dead inside.
And I think it's time for a break, so I just stayed inside of a car in the car meet, probably diminishing its value, but hey, I got a trophy. I then completed another trophy which had me do donuts around a pineapple on this map, because if that isn't the most Hawaiian thing ever, I don't know what is. And I know I said there was only like 1 hard trophy in the game, but I found another. You have to chain 2 bike backflips while in the air and use the fast favorite with a plane before reaching the ground. In the Crew Motorfest, the gravity is actually somewhat gravitying, so I had to follow the guide for this trophy because I was lost in how you do it off of a mountain. And it's actually best done off of a hotel, but I still barely got it. Shout out the game for having a slow vehicle change, you low-key saved me there. And now all that was left is primarily just online trophies inside of the Crew Motorfest big online mode. First being the trophy gotten from starting a crew, of course, which is done by just having a singular person join the game. I then got a few more homies to join, and we also did the Flying Squadron trophy after, which just has you fly right next to a bunch of people until the trophy pops. I then put us into a custom event, and after finishing it with 4 people, that is the exact requirements for another trophy. We then landed on the Demolition Royale section of the trophy list. The Crew Motorfest has 2 major big events, the Grand Race and then this piece of shit. The demolition mode, by the way, is completely and utterly dead on American servers, and you cannot get a match at all. That is not an understatement. Even with me having like 5 or 6 people in the queue, it was stuck at like 10. Thankfully, I have quite a few EU fans who could help out and hosted a match for me that actually had people in it. But aside from just bad queue times because the game is dead, the demolition mode itself is horrible. The map is way too big. You can't ever respawn after dying, which is just dumb. You literally get 1 chance, and you can also die immediately to some guy in a monster truck. Overall, it's a bad mode is what I'm trying to get at. But the trophies for it are also awful, except for the one gotten from just loading into a match. After that though, I did a few rounds where I just got manhandled, and it was so not fun. But then after I left a match, once the whole squad was gone, I did get 2 trophies as a matter of fact. The first one was for reaching level 15 in the game. Now I could have sworn this was data sensitive or something like the guide said, but I got it, and I'm not going to complain. Should I have got it? Probably not, but I did. I also completed all 3 main timelines of the game, and these are just like XP things, so we don't need to talk about it. But then on a match nearly right after, I finally struck gold and managed to get the monster truck upgrade twice, and also kill 3 people in the same match. A feat that I did not think was even possible, if I'm being honest. And my last trophy before my last trophy was gotten from spending 1 million doubloons in one car purchase. I then had one more trophy remaining, and it was from just playing for 24 hours in the game. I was only at like 16 right here, so I decided to just AFK the rest because I don't want to pointlessly race around for 8 more hours. That might be my ending if we were being honest. So yeah, there it is, finally, and the platinum right after. So that was the Crew Motorfest Platinum Trophy experience. Overall, the game is okay. It's just sort of dry. Feels a lot like the Crew 2 because it pretty much is the same game. In fact, if this was a full price DLC, which, I mean, it basically is, I wouldn't have complained at all. So putting it in at a scale out of 10, I'm gonna give it a 5. There's nothing wrong with it, but there's also nothing really good with it either. So yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching again, and thank you all for 600,000. I'll see you in the next one.